Hi everyone and welcome to the latest instalment of the Armchair Gooners video diary of a season of being an Arsenal supporter. Second year I've been doing it. I really enjoyed doing this, but I've done I've done a podcast as well, and live as it happened one during the North London derby. This podcast will just be it's a little thing I do every now and again. It's video ones, recap of the games, really not going to big in-depth thing. That's for your other podcasts, your professional ones. I just talk about it as I see it from a fan's point of view. I don't go out to be particularly negative. I suppose you could call me middle of the road gooner for those of you that have never seen this or heard any of my stuff before. So obviously this is coming at you a couple of days after the North London derby now. So I always like to take a couple of days to reflect on what I saw and how I saw it. And so yeah, this is me, and these are my thoughts. I'd like you to leave comments below if you wanted to. Click like and subscribe, all that malarkey, but otherwise I hope you enjoy the videos. So where do we start? Well, we start the starting lineup. Considering what we've got at the moment in the team and the squad, I think it's probably the best starting lineup we could have had, bar a couple of choices that were probably personal, and that would be in midfield. I think the Socrates-Luiz centre-half partnership is the best we've got. The fact that Mustafi's nowhere near the first team at the moment is good for me personally. I just don't think, I don't think he's up to the task anyway, and B, I think he's just shot to pieces with all the really bad stuff that he gets on social media and at the ground. You know, it must get you, even as a professional footballer. You know, they're still human beings at the end of the day. Yes, I know this is what they do for a living, but when you're getting booed on and jeered at the whole time, it can't do you any favours. I don't think he's one of Emery's players anyway. So yeah, Leno in goal's your best bet. Luiz and Socrates, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who I really like. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in midfield where he belongs. But he's doing such a good job there at the moment, covering for Hector. And then you've got Kolasinac, who I do like. He's more of a wing back than a full back, really, but I like him there. But he won't be there when Tierney becomes fit. So it's a makeshift, because either Luiz or Socrates will make way for Rob Holden as well, I guess, eventually at the back. So it really is a makeshift defence that we're playing with at the moment. And then your midfield three of Ceballos, Torreira and Guendouzi. Love Guendouzi, especially after this game. I've said it all the way through last week, because when you consider he's a young boy last year coming over to a brand new style of football, a new country, doing everything new, and he come in. I mean, like, people were expecting, again, the thing with like social media and stuff, people are expecting a Patch Vieira entrance. You don't really get those anymore. I mean, look at even Paul Pogba's struggling at United still. And Guendouzi's, you know, he's picking up his game, and he's doing really well. And this is his, you know, his breakthrough season last season was brilliant for him, and he hasn't got the likes of Aaron Ramsey and whoever now in front of him, so he's got to really make this his, you know, he's got to make this his own berth with Torreira and of course Xhaka in midfield. More on him later. You know, irrespective of this result, I personally would have not played him. He's not my starting centre midfielder. He's certainly not my captain. I'd give that to Ainsley Maitland-Niles just because he's a young lad that's coming through the system and knows the team. For me, I would play. At the moment, you've got to play Ceballos. I'd also like to see Ozil, one of those two there. And then your front three of Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. That's your best. That's your best starting. I mean, that's the only front three. Martinez, is it Martinez, the new Brazilian lad? He's not really up to speed in the Premier League yet. He'll make his first team competitive debut, I suppose, in either the Carabao or Europa Leagues. So yeah, you know, totally happy with the starting lineup in terms of personnel. other than personal favourites. But at the beginning of the game, we didn't do bad. We started all right. We went at them a little bit. And Spurs were content to have a little look at us and see how we were playing. And they were obviously ready to start on the counter attack. Was what they were going to come do straight from the off. So it sort of felt, it was a weird one. It sort of felt quick but sluggish at the same time. I know it sounds weird, but that's what it did. It didn't. We'll come to it again. We'll come to this later now. But the start of the second half, we were so much quicker, Arsenal, as an attacking force, that just wasn't there at the beginning of the first. It was quick, but nowhere near. It didn't match what came later on in the game. And I think that sort of caught everyone by surprise. I think we felt a little bit too defensive-minded. Everyone was talking about Arsenal being favourites at the beginning of the game, which technically, I guess, on form we should have been. And it's at home, but it's a North London derby, and it's, Spurs are always going to be up for it, especially with recent results and whatnot. So yeah, it's there was a bit of cut and thrust. Nothing really major going on with Spurs, and we weren't exploiting the areas in the first half that we should have been. We should have been attacking Davinson Sanchez from the off. He's not a fullback, so playing him out there was a strange decision by Poch. And we should really have made so much more of that right from the off. Should have got Pepe or Aubameyang when they were swapping over to really go at him, but we didn't. And then their first goal happened after 10 minutes. It was a long ball back from the back. Kane got a flick on. He managed to outjump both. I think it was Luiz, but it was definitely Socrates. And Bern Leno allowed Lamella's shot to come across him and didn't get a strong enough. You either got to try and bring it into your body, or if you're at full stretch, you've got to wallop it. And instead of just sort of tipping it round, you've got to, I would imagine you would try and bosh it out. But also, you watch that real back. Socrates doesn't make the challenge to come back. He's coming back with Eriksen, but he doesn't follow him all the way, and he sort of loses him. I think probably thinks that Socrates is going to save that lame effort from Lamella. I called him that on purpose, by that, but wasn't that was actually on purpose. So and Eriksen was left with a tap in, but for Kane to out jump Socrates, and I'm sure it was Luiz, that's not great. There needs to be a bit more communication there. It should have just been a little one where they were like, one of them should have told the other one where they were going. But they didn't, and they got the first goal, and it was deflating, but it wasn't. I didn't think, oh, here we go, it's going to be one of those games where they've turned up and they're going to turn us over, and we weren't really offering much going forward, like I say. But it just, I wasn't worried at that point. There was bits and pieces going on all over the place. Danny Rose got a yellow card. I think Sanchez did as well, and we should have really, like I say, that's when we should have really pushed home the advantage on the wings there, but we just didn't. And that's a bit of a shame to me. So that would be a tactic I'd like to see more of. I don't think many teams do that. I don't know why it is. But what surprised me was the amount of fouls, niggly fouls that were going on both sides. But someone like Granit Xhaka, how he managed to get away with staying on the pitch for as long as he did to give away the penalty that he did, which was their next goal, it's just ludicrous. The man, and I've never seen anyone tackle with his backside as much as someone like him in a professional game. He seems to back into players with his hips. I don't know if he thinks it makes it look like it's not a foul. It must be working because he didn't get any cards. I mean, he could have gone for the penalty, to be honest, because it was a lunge in the box and the ball was well gone by the time he connected. If Son wasn't there and it wasn't in the stadium, if that was down the park, it'd still be sliding now. It was a ridiculous challenge to put in there. There was no real threat at that point either. It wasn't like it was a last ditch. Oh, he's running through and goal. I've got to tackle him. The ball, Son had just squared it inside the 18-yard box. There was no, Harry Kane was stood there with a defender on his back anyway. I mean, to be fair, Harry Kane's probably going to dive there, so he's going to get a penalty anyway. So either way, a penalty's going to be given. But don't give him don't give him the easy penalty. Do you know what I mean? But at least when he does dive, it's going to go to VAR. So just a ridiculous challenge, and that's why, as I was saying earlier on, Xhaka for me wouldn't have been in the starting 11 in the first place. So that really did put us on the back foot. But even then, I wasn't concerned. I wasn't worried. Like, it never felt like that. It never felt like we were going to get turned over on our own patch. Sometimes you just get that feeling. But this one didn't. It just felt like we still had another couple of gears to go up, or something was going to happen. We would get a chance, and we did. We started piling pressure on, and a lovely ball through to Lacazette. A couple of amazing touches, and then the power that he generates in that goal to smash it past Lloris at his near post. I don't think enough was made of that goal. It was a fantastic goal, and what a time to get it. Spurs have got no time to react, so they're going in at half time now. Heads down a little bit. We're coming up pumped. Could be like, come on, we've got this. They're on the rack, on the ropes a bit. So in terms of being 2-0 down, that is the perfect time to score. And then you didn't want the half to end, obviously, as a Gooner, but you also knew that we've got them. You sort of had a feeling like we're at least going to get back into this game somehow. And then the second half started, and from my mind, we absolutely battered them. When I say battered them, I've had a row with another Arsenal supporter about this on social media. Maybe my terminology is not right, but we battered their defences. We didn't have the killer ball, I'll give you that, but they just could not get out of their third of the pitch, and we were just hammering away. Against another side, they would have caught us on a break quite easily. But Spurs couldn't. They didn't have the pace. Harry Kane wasn't looking... genuinely, apart from the shot that after... I think they were 2-1 up at the time, and he shot and it hits the post and rolls out. Flies out, actually. He hit it that hard, to be fair to him. But other than that, he genuinely wasn't in the game. At one point, he was filling in at left back, trying to keep Pepe quiet with Davies and Sanchez, because they realised how badly he was struggling. But that start, Guendouzi's effort that Lloris saved was a great effort, and that was a turning point. We come out and come flying at them, and then we got the goal. Guendouzi's pass was a Peter pass, and Aubameyang, to be able to get that, he's literally just steering it in with the flat of his foot in off the studs. It's a great finish. But the game really did change when we brought Ceballos on. He really is the player that we need to sign. We've got, okay, look, I'm going to jump forward a little bit, but bringing Mkhitaryan on and then 2 days later letting him go to Roma, I don't get that. That thinking, it's like when Oxlade-Chamberlain played against Liverpool and then we sold them to him. What was the point? Why couldn't we have Reece Nelson or even Ozil? Or why wasn't Ceballos? Why was Mkhitaryan even in the squad if they knew he must? It's not just going to get up on Tuesday morning and go, I fancy Roma now. Yeah, see you later. Thanks, bye. Those deals would have been going on in the background whilst that game was going on, and that could have jeopardised his move as well, because he might have injured himself in that game. It's a North London derby. You don't know what's going to happen. It's such a bizarre... I don't understand why you do it. So I would never have brought Mkhitaryan on if you knew that was happening. But the bringing on of Ceballos he's the sort of player, is what I was trying to say, when we need to get rid of Mkhitaryan. And for those of you, I think he's just a fantastic footballer. That Ozil is a fantastic footballer. That's never in question. It's whether or not he's done it for Arsenal. He obviously hasn't enough. But I still don't know. I think you have to play the formation for Ozil to get the best out of him. And I genuinely think that those three that we've got up front now, because it gives him options with Pepe's pace, Aubameyang's outrageous skill, and Lacazette with his back to goal. That's the sort of front three that Ozil would work amazingly with, and that's why I think we've got to keep him. But I can understand why he wouldn't, and I think we have to try and make every effort possible to sign Ceballos next year. I know it's only a loan deal, and I don't think Real Madrid are going to let him go, but if you can get into his head now and say, look, you can go back to Madrid, but you're not guaranteed a starting place. Here, you're going to be the kingpin of our centre midfield. I think it's a no-brainer. And I would love, I honestly, just the couple of games that I've seen of him, and you know, you've got these idiots over at Talk Sport that turn around and say, oh, after one game against Burnley, this was a North London derby, he should have played from the start. He come on, he changed the game. He absolutely changed the game. And I just think he's one that he will light up the Premier League this year. You know, but getting back to the game, we had a bit of fisticuffs between Winks and Socrates. I think Socrates is just up for it. He wants to fight, and I think he's disappointed if he leaves the pitch and he hasn't left one on a defender or a midfielder somewhere. I was surprised that he got the booking and not Winks as well, because they were both, you know, it was a late challenge, a bit of a push off the ball, but Winks then picked him up and threw him with his shirt and whatnot. And I think Socrates made the most of it, because Winks is only a slight lad and he's not Xavi, who for some reason he keeps getting linked, you know, likened to. But you know, there's lots of little bits that weren't too major. I thought the referee did quite well in that respect for a North London derby. You know, there was no real, like last year with the stupid Eric Dyer incident and stuff. I think, you know, but we've got rid of him. You know, he doesn't. That's the sort of thing you don't want to see. A little bit of niggle's lovely. A little bit of needle is great. It's what you want to see in a derby, but not that. All that sort of nonsense was rubbish. And Spurs have got a real problem now with their side and the way they play football, with this new bizarre rule that you can have two players in the box when you're taking a goal kick. It's just against mid-table to bottom-table teams. I think that tactic's going to work, and every team is doing it now, and I can't stand it. It's weird. But Spurs trying against us, and it didn't really work against us. I don't see it working against a Liverpool, a Chelsea, even Man United. I don't think it would work against. But, you know, that's what they're doing. Fair play to them. Let them get on with it. But it invites pressure onto them. And a couple of times, with a bit more composure from our side, we'd have had Lloris under real pressure. But that's nullifying Harry Kane. It's not his style of football. It's not. Tottenham's style is now not Harry Kane's style. So they're having to fit him in. When really, Lucas Moura is the player that you're going to want to play in that position. And he's shown that he can do it. You know, this is a remnant from the Champions League game running last time when Kane wasn't there, and it was working because Kane wasn't there. I'm not having a go at him. You know, he's a decent centre half. I think there's something wrong with his centre of gravity or his knees or something. He falls over a lot, and you've got to be careful of him. You know, he's a. If I was a Spurs doctor, I'd have him checked out, because he can't seem to stand upright when there's someone near him. I think he's got a weird sense of personal space, because he seems to throw himself on the floor a lot. So I would check that out. But other than that, I think he's a good centre forward, and it's just not that side. That the team are not bringing the best out of him. And we've got Son in the side, who's always played well alongside him, and Dele Alli when he came on, who I hate as a player. You know, they're the sort of players that are supposed to complement Kane, but this system doesn't. So Spurs have got that's you know, trying to be balanced. That's where Spurs need to work out, is how to fit Kane into their system now, or do they change it and go back to the system that works better for Harry Kane? Last couple of thoughts. After the game, there's been lots of people criticising Pepe. He's not doing enough. He hasn't scored yet, blah, 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 blah. 72 mil. First off, it hasn't been 72 million, has it? We didn't put 72 million down up front. That's why we're clearing out people like Mkhitaryan right up to the end of the transfer window. We're trying to recoup money, wages-wise, and all that sort of stuff. Secondly, these idiots on Twitter that are saying this, what would they have done when Henry or Burkhardt first started, if Twitter was around when they started? Because they didn't do well either. And they turned out all right, really, didn't they, in the end? I think, for me, Pepe, you can see the quality there. He's got pace to burn, he's got skills. I think he's trying too hard to ingratiate himself into the Arsenal fans' hearts. I think he just needs to calm down, stop snatching at shots, understand that creating a goal is as important as scoring a goal. We don't care if you scored the goal or created it. You know, what I mean is, if you created a great goal or created a goal against Tottenham, that's just as good as scoring, really. If you've made the wonder pass, like Guendouzi did, he didn't score. He nearly scored, apart from a decent save from Lloris. Ceballos nearly scored from an absolute thumper that was moving all over the place when Lloris saved that. Just relax. That's all he needs to do. He just needs to relax and get into his game. Once the first goal comes, the rest will follow. Trust me, and it'll be a Bergkamp moment. We just need Southampton to turn up at the Emirates, like Bergkamp did. You know, he got his 2 goals there, and that was it. It was off and running. And the last thing I've seen on Twitter recently, since the game, is people saying that about how Jose Mourinho was praising the Arsenal front 3 in midfield and saying you need this, that, and the defence. And there's now a Jose Mourinho to Arsenal hashtag trending on Twitter. No. I mean, Emery doesn't deserve that. This is his first season in charge of his team. Last team this season, as I've said before in previous videos from the beginning of this season, if you remember, we couldn't get anyone in. We got Denis Suarez on loan because that's all we could do in the winter transfer window, because he even complained about it. Now he's been bringing players in. This is his team totally. Last time he made the changes at the beginning of the season, but you still felt it was Arsene Wenger's team. This is all about him now. So this is his season, really. Last year was a sort of a free hit. This one is all down to him. And secondly, Jose Mourinho's got no place in English football anymore. I'm sorry, he's antiquated. He's a bit of a dinosaur. His tactics are boring. You wouldn't play the second half of football like we played under Mourinho. It just wouldn't happen. And I don't think Pep, he keeps raving about his players, but they're not the sort of players he bought. But you look at the players he bought at United before he left. So Mourinho to Arsenal, not for me. We're going to give Emery at least one more season as well, please. Let's not start doing a Chelsea and chopping and changing all the way through. One quick one on that. All these people saying Frank Lampard's doing it with youth at Chelsea. He's got to. That's why they brought him in, yeah, because he can't sign anyone. And none of the big managers wanted it because they couldn't sign anyone, and they had to use their youth players. So let's not say this Frank Lampard doing the business for Chelsea, building a legacy. He's having to do it because he's got to do it, and I think it might be a step too far. We'll see how it goes in the Champions League. Anyway, that was it. North London derby. I think overall a 2-2 draw was probably a fair result, because Spurs could have won at the end if it wasn't for Sissoko not being able to shoot as a professional footballer. They started off well, Spurs. You could see they faded. We started off not great, all right, and then a little bit, and then just knocked on the door. It was going to happen. I said on my pod, as it happened, when I actually felt like Spurs were going to nick it 3-2. So I was sort of okay with a 2-2 draw. I would have taken the 2-2 draw when we were 2-0 down. I would have snapped your hand off for a 2-2 draw because of the way we were playing. But so on balance of play, probably a 2-2 draw is probably fair. But that's balance, and no one wants balance today. They want screamy, shouty, Arsenal fan TV, and that's not what you're going to get from me. I'm going to try and keep it as balanced and as neutral as you can be as a supporter of one team. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Like I say, please click like, subscribe, share it. Click the bell in the corner and get your notifications. Leave me comments, good or bad. I'll try not to get nasty on them, even if you are. Enjoy your football, enjoy the international break as much as you can, and we'll reconvene after Watford. Cheers.